Okay, so we left out, and things were really, the tension was high last week when we left out. Athena's daughter had popped some pills. Let's talk about what happened.
And I'm like, come on through, Cookie. I'm going up on my soapbox. That's basically it. Let's talk about drag and all its forms. What,
Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for season 1, episode 3 of 911. Like I said, we left out last week and the tension was real high. With Athena's daughter, she had actually popped these pills. We found out they were actually pills that Athena had from some dental work she had done months and months ago that were actually left over. She actually got her hands on those as she had taken those. So Athena felt even worse about the fact that she had these pills. They did get her in time, pumped her stomach and all of that stuff, got her conscious and all of that, and they start speaking to her. The father actually has showed up by this point. Well, let's talk about this when he actually showed up. He showed up, and he's like, this is all my fault, this, that, thing, and the other. And Athena's telling him, no, it's really not your fault. It is what it is. He's like, no, I told her, we told them too soon. They weren't ready. You were right, this, that, thing, and the other. Well, all at once, honey, this piece of brown goodness walked up, baby, and bald-headed, and I said, woo, honey, young and tight and fresh. I said, what is going on? Child, Athena was looking at him. She said, is he with you? I said, bitch, you know he is, honey. You know he is. You always trade up. You don't go get no older model. He traded up, baby. He was fine. Fine. That's the child. He done traded you in for a boy toy, honey. And she was looking and she was hot. Baby. She said, let me go. I'm just going to go and get me some coffee. She had coffee in her hand, child. She was walking. She had coffee in her hand. She was worked. I said, whoo, child, it was a mess. Anyway, so, went on, they get back there, they talk to the little girl, and they find out, because they're, of course, the dad is still groveling in the, oh my God, I'm so sorry. She's like, it don't have anything to do with either one of you all. We came to find out it's all a case of bullying. It was bullying. She was being bullied at school and hadn't actually talked to her parents. They were so busy going through their stuff that they really didn't pay much attention to what was going on with her, and they just completely missed it. She was actually being bullied in school. So, I said, all right. So she's like, well, we're going to take care of that. And her mother gave her these, affirmations and confirmations about who she was and that she was a princess and she didn't have to worry about none of that. And all of what they're saying is wrong. She said, you got friends. She said, I don't have any friends. I'm weird. She said, no, you don't. No, you're not weird. You do have friends. She called up the one little girl. She said, no, she's with that Layla girl. The girl's name is Layla, who's been doing she's the it girl. And she's kind of gotten everybody on her side. And now she's the target. Her baby is the target. And she said, I don't even know how I got to be the target. She's like, that's okay. Don't worry about it. We're going to take care of it, baby. And later in the last part of the show that we saw Athena, baby, how she was stalking the little guy that she caught last week that got away from her. That's the same way she was stalking Layla. I said, oh, shit. Layla getting ready to get some issues. Okay? She going to get bullied her goddamn self. And I'm here for it. So that was that. But before they ended up leaving the hospital, some other stuff jumped off. CPS showed up, honey, Child Protective Services showed up, and was saying we have to take her through an evaluation because of the fact that it was a suicide attempt. So they need to check her out, and she has to be evaluated to make sure that she's not going to try it again and all of this kind of thing. They told her, good advice, just tell them everything, explain everything and all of that, and everything's gonna be fine. Then she took that Athena's too much, honey. She took the father and told him, let's go, we're going to get through this like we get through everything else. And she's like, and you're not by yourself. She says, I hold on to my family real tight. She says, so even while I had one hand mugging you in the face and wanting to smack you around for what you did, and what you've done. I was holding on to my whole family with the other hand. She said, "No, let's go. We're going home now together." I said, "Girl, now you going to bully the man to be with you? You going to guilt trip and bully the man to be with you? Girl, you done lost the thing and you need to leave it alone. Girl, did you see that boy toy that came up in there? Bitch, you are done. You're done. I know it hurts, girl. But girl, it's over. You can do all the bullying and crying and being mean that you want, honey. It's done. He's going to leave you. Leave it alone. Or he done left you, child. A mess. Anyway. Okay, so let's skip around a little bit. So there was a couple different calls they went on. This one child, there was a bounce house, and I see this in the news all the time. I don't even know why people fool with them things when they live in areas where it's real windy and open and mountain terrain. I don't know why people do it, but they were at this party, honey, and they were in the bounce house, and the one little boy gets in, and there was a whole background story of how, they kill me with these background stories and then they don't go into them. I'll be mad at Ryan. Like, I want to know more about that with my nebby ass. But the little boy, he was there for the weekend with his dad and his stepmom, and they have a new baby. And the father was saying to the mother about how, and the little friends, the part, how the mother, the little boy's mother was basically turning him against the father. So he's real distant with the father, but he's great to go into the bounce house. He's like, go ahead to the bounce house and play. So he's like, well, let me go. Just doing what fathers do. He's trying to, get the little boy to open up to him and all of this thing and reassure him that he loves him and all of this. So he goes. There's like 3 kids in the bounce house. Then this little boy gets in the bounce house. Then the father goes and gets in the bounce house. He's like, Daddy, you're too big. He's like, whatever. So he gets in the bounce house and he's jumping around the bounce house. And yes, Daddy's too big. So where he's bouncing around about 3 good times where he bounced, and they was complaining about how windy it was. The one little thing came up out of the bounce house, out of the ground, baby, and the whole bounce house took flight, honey. And it rolled over, and blew down the street and right over the side of the damn mountain, honey. And they are hanging. And they got there and they got everything together. Of course, they were able to save them all. Now, in the process of this, we got our own storyline running. Jimmy Chen, y'all know, our Asian firefighter. He was doing when they got there, Captain Bobby told him, you work the little crane. He's like, why don't I ever get to do the exciting stuff? Child, we already know that he's a goofball. So he can't do that. You really want us to trust you to lower yourself down the mountain and grab somebody? Ain't nobody doing that. You work the little crane, honey. So he did that, and Buckingham did the hard stuff. So he was bothered with that. Then we see a little scene where he's with this girlfriend. Remember, we kept seeing the girlfriend, and the girlfriend is like this adrenaline junkie, and she basically just got this little thing going. She's weird. She likes the hear the stories of all these heroic things that Chen is not actually doing. Chen is telling these stories about things that basically Buck is doing, not him, and he's putting on this facade for her. Then he ends up, he had even cooked this dinner, and he really didn't cook the dinner. Bobby cooked the dinner for him. He's doing all these things to try to impress this whore. And then he proposes to her. And she gave him a real shady no. Told him no. Told him that she has commitment issues and all of this kind of stuff. She basically let him down kind of easy. She didn't say. Then she said, we might need to break up, this, that, and the other. It was a mess. Very next day, he goes to work. He's talking to them because he has a real bad attitude, like something's going on, and they're like, "What's going on? So what's up?" So he don't explain it totally to them. He explains just a little bit, and Bobby's sitting there looking, and then he says something happened, and him and Bobby starts at it, and he told Bobby, "Tell me what you really think, Bobby. Just go ahead and tell me what you really think." Because you're always sitting over there with your face all stern and looking down at people. And we don't know nothing about you. I don't know about your wife or your kids or anything like that. He's like, we don't know nothing about your background. But you always standing in judgment of us. And Bobby's like, listen, it's not even like that. He's like, I never said I don't like her. He's like, well, that's how you act. He's like, I don't like her for you. And he just kept pushing and pushing and pushing until he told Chen, he's like, listen, you're living a big facade. You're living a lie. You're dealing with a person that has some type of strange proclivity to wanting these action stories of you, and it's not even you. Like, quit playing. Baby Chen got all mad and rolled on out of there. He leaves. He's on the road. He calls the girl. The girl ain't answering him. He just said his feelings. He ends up getting into a car accident. And this car accident, it was very much giving me, everything. The way it was filmed and everything was giving me Final Destination. If you ever see any of the Final Destination movies, you have been missing out. Go see them. But anyway, there's these big rods on this truck that was behind him. He ends up pulling off to the side, but he's in front of a median. There are sometimes like those cement medians that are on the side of the road. They're just there. He had pulled over to, and he's like facing it. Baby, the truck goes and pulls up behind him and slams into the back of rear ends him, and one of those rods comes straight through his forehead. A mess. So when they get there, and I've seen this too, this like happen in real life. I haven't seen it actually, but I've seen like video where people will have those type of injuries and they say that they don't feel any pain and they really don't know what's going on because they're in shock. And that's what it was. They were actually having a whole conversation with him. There's another one. It's like a person I seen a video of somebody got smashed by a train, and as long as everything was together, they were fine. But as soon as they removed them, they died like right away. It was one of those kind of things. So they get them, all together, and they're like, okay, we got you, blah, 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 blah. He just kept on. He wouldn't stop until he said, I want to see what I got going on because he can't see it. So Bobby takes the picture, shows him, and he's like, oh, shit, on his phone. It's like, okay, cool, no problem. So they get him out, get him to the hospital, get him, they take him into surgery. They actually get the thing out of his head. When they take it out, he begins to hemorrhage. I'm like, he's done. That's it. He's going to be done. But nope, that ain't what happened. They ended up putting him into a medically induced coma. Okay, so that's that. Bobby goes to see Tatiana, because that's the girl's name, Tatiana. He goes to see this stinking whore. Goes and sees her. And is begging her basically to come on down to the hospital because whenever they got to the point where they were going to bring him out of the coma, it was like days had gone by. She refused. She's like, I don't love him. And you want me to pretend to love him and pretend that I'm going to marry him and all of that. Then I'm going to pretend to do this, that, and I just can't do all that. I was like, oh, she's horrible. She's a horrible human being. And Bobby said, I'm not asking you to pretend to do anything. All I'm asking you is to come so that we all know that he's in love with you. We know that. All I want you to do is be there when he wakes up so that he can, even if he just believes for that little bit of time, that you love him back. And that gives him the will to live and come back to us. That's all I'm asking. I ain't asking you to do nothing beyond that. She's like, I can't do it. I said, oh, bitch, you're going to die a miserable death. You're going to die a miserable death. Karma is going to eat you up. You can bet on that. A mess. Anyway, so they bring him out of the coma, and we got our bald chick, we got Buck there, and we actually got Bobby there. And you know what? It was enough. It was fine. They brought him up. He was good. He was responding real well, so we didn't lose Chick because I thought he was done. I said, damn, his job ended on the third episode. But no, we got him. He cool. So I was like, all right, cool. So that was that. That was good. Now let's talk about Abby. So Abby, her brother was over to visit, and it was one of the days her mother was having a bad day. It was her birthday, but she was having one of her bad Alzheimer days. And he presented Abby with the idea of putting the mother into a facility. And Abby had a fit. She had a fit. She was like, I'll put my mother in no home. As long as I can keep her here, I'm going to do it, and that's it. I'm not having it. So then she ends up calling Buck. and they were actually having this little conversation right when he was in the middle of a call where there were some people that was up in a truck. Some man, I guess they were illegal immigrants or something, but they didn't put them in a truck, and he didn't got them here and just left the truck in the middle of a parking lot. There's no proper insulation in the truck. The truck on the inside is like over 100 degrees. There's babies, old people, and all this in there. All these people damn near died. But they got there and they actually did get to save them all. Thank goodness. And in the midst of it, our bald chick, she took, and the guy who was the driver, she had seen his little driver's thing up in the top of the thing, and he was like, just a coward. So instead of just leaving him and running, he going to ease it around the way, trying to see how it all turned out. Well, excuse me, mister, you're the one that put him in danger. Why didn't you unlock the damn truck or something? Like, I just didn't understand his whole point. So again, I got stuck with, I want to know what the background story was. But she tackled his ass and said, somebody put the cuffs on him. I said, you better do the bald head. Get him, honey. So that was real good. But anyway, that was the call that Buck was out on when Abby got in touch with him. And they had their little conversation. And it was just another build to the fact that Buck and Abby are doing just like this. They're doing just like this. They have a lot of things in common, because he told her, he was like, family. He said, I don't have a lot of experience when it comes to like Alzheimer's and things like that, but I do know that family comes first. And it was just all that she needed to hear. It was reaffirmation that she was doing the right thing, because she was kind of considering the whole get my life back, throw her in the home type of thing, and she's like, nah. And once he said that, she was like, okay, cool. I said the two of them, they're going to fall in love with each other. It's going to be very interesting to see, honey. And they still haven't seen each other in person. I'm loving that. But that's it. That's where we end it. 911 on Fox. And I'll catch you guys next Wednesday. Later.